G'day everyone and welcome to the Martial Arts Business Success Podcast number 94. Graham McDonald,
Phil Britton,
and we've got some really awesome stuff we're going to talk about. Look, I think this is something that in some way, shape or form, I think everybody understands it, but it's really important that you kind of get the need to change things up on a regular basis. So change is good. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
What have we done recently that has turned the Snowdome upside down from, let's say, a staffing level rather than an organisational type level? What have we done?
Well, as I say, change is as good as a holiday. For our level, what we've done, we, as you all probably know, is we have three rather large locations. One is obviously quite big with 800 odd so members, and that school there has two managers running it because it's almost like two schools within one to some degree. We've also got the other two schools which have 400 plus members in it as well, and they have a manager in each. Now, what we've found is that the instructors or the managers, they get comfortable, and they just feel into their groove. And I think that they stop growing to some level, and they get comfortable, they stop growing, and I don't know. Like I think the students and even the staff that are under them get into I'm trying to get to it like a state of comfortableness where they're just not growing left or right or up or down. You know what I mean? So
yeah, for sure.
What we did recently was shuffle things around. So, what do we do?
Look, I think it's important to understand here. We talk about good enough is not a standard we expect. Excellence in everything. That's something that we base our standards on for our crew. So when they've been on location, as you pointed out, for a number of years, when they walk into the office, things are just as per normal.
Yeah.
So they're not looking for that dirt on the floor. They're not smelling the place from a critical point of view. They're not looking at their desk or their workspace in the same eyes as a brand new person will walk in judging it for the first time. So what we've done is we've actually moved a couple of our managers to different locations for a period of time. And this started with our two ICs. So we changed them for a month just to get their understanding and have them be mentored by the different managers. Now we're shifting the actual branch managers. And what's really been great is a benefit from different schools to go from an owner's point of view, it's a shake up for them, but also to make sure our systems are being consistent across all the board. And it's been a really great and exciting time where we've identified between one location to another, although majority is the same, there's still a few variances there that shouldn't be there. So we've been able to rectify that.
Yeah.
Whereas when you kind of just have a location running, you've got the same team in there, as much as we check all the figures and numbers and the way things done, when you have someone new walk in and just fresh set of eyes, there's some pretty obvious differences. So again, guys, I go back to it. It's that critical analysis of your business. Sometimes you need somebody else to do that for you, and they see things that you just become the norm. And I guess it's quite funny, and I like to put it this way, and I'm going to kind of cover myself on this.
Having a little bit of a laugh.
I'm having a little bit of a laugh because there is a medical condition where when a husband goes to the fridge and the wife asks for something and it's right in front of you and you have a man look and it's not there, seriously, there's got to be a legit condition for that.
I've got the prescribed medication for that.
Yeah, so look, I think that, again, the same thing goes for when we've got staff who have something occur right under their nose and they just went, man, I completely missed that. So that's them just being too comfortable and complacent. So what this is doing is leading me into telling you guys, in the obviously online content, there's some really great checklists that are going to give you a chance to go through, say, your facility and look through it as if you're a brand new client. How does it look? How does it smell? Where's the bins? Where's the paint job? That sort of stuff. And what I would do is I would encourage you to do it. I encourage some of your staff to do it. Even better is to actually go and get some of the parents to do it for you as well too. So that way you are not just marking it the way that you see it. You've got other people marking it in their opinion as well too.
So just if I ask you a question, Graham,
Yep.
What is the benefit to the actual manager to go to a different school? If you just look at the personal benefit of the manager.
Look, what it does is sometimes when you establish a persona in a particular place, the students love you and that's fine, that's good and dandy. The staff though come to know you as a particular way, and it's very hard sometimes to level up as a increasing manager or as even an instructor if you're in the same place. So for example, when I was student at our first martial arts school. You're always a student. Now you train with people, and then suddenly you become a manager or a 2IC or a lead instructor, and those friends you train with will always see you as just that friend.
Yeah.
So that's sometimes a challenging thing for some of those fledgling leaders to be looked upon as a leader. Whereas when they go, same position, go to a different location, nobody knows them other than that leader. So it's a really great way to reaffirm their abilities, and also a great way for self-development to go, you know what, before I probably wasn't looked upon as that level. Now, man, I'm, for the same person, different location, they shine 100 times more.
And what about, I guess now on the flip side, what would be the benefit of the student to have this brand new instructor? Is it a pro or is it a con?
Look, I definitely think there's pros in that, and us as an organisation, we love guest instructors to come in. We love different instructors, because what it does, it opens up the minds of your students, because sometimes the different learning styles are really important. How I teach is different to Phil. Some people like how I do it, some people like how Phil does it. But having the chance to have a mixture of instruction and a mixture of skill sets, the students benefit massively. So I can't encourage it enough. When you, I won't say inbreeding, there's a lot of instructors that are very incubated and their students are kept in their own little world. And when they finally step out of it, they actually become quite critical of potentially the instructor going, well, you were holding back on me. You didn't share this. A lot of instructors will be fearful that their students, if they get guests to come in, will actually leave.
Yeah.
And there was a quote here, and I guess I'm going to relate this back to probably students as well too, rather than it just being a staffing thing. But Richard Branson had this great quote. He says, train your staff so well they'll leave, treat them so well they'll stay. And I guess what you've got to remember too, as a student, you've got to train them so well and allow them to explore different people and their different training styles that, they could leave, they may jump ship, they may want to do that, but treat them so well as a family that they're just going to stay and be loyal forever. So that's one for me.
Cool. And then I guess the meat in the sandwich. So we've gone, the benefit is for the manager.
Yep.
What's the benefits for the students? What about the staff? So the staff that's under the manager, I guess like attracts like. So for example, if you've got a monotone manager, who is talented, but they let you off to a certain degree as a employee, then like attracts like. They'll become that as well. So by flipping the snow dome, so to speak, and getting a different, more charismatic instructor coming in, they go, oh, I'm allowed to be like that.
What I find what works really well with that is the manager being moved to the different location has to learn to adapt to the personality type of that team, for example. So it's not like come in, all guns blazing, everyone needs to conform. They need to understand about HR, human resources. And again, also, we say this in sales, the chameleon effect. If you're going to get the most from your team, you still need to be you, but you also need to understand your team. You need to have a little bit more insight into how they operate. And that is sometimes, as you pointed out, when you're a bit more of a quieter person, you may need to rise and level up when you go to that next team.
Absolutely.
At that next spot. Or if you're a bit of a loudmouth, and you really are quite charismatic, you may need to tone it down initially until such time as the other team members kind of acclimatise. Otherwise, you can just be that stone in the shoe. It was a great flip, but it really didn't benefit anybody.
Cool. All right, guys, well, as we wrap up, a couple of housekeeping things. I know for you guys who like to get more information than just from the podcast, we've got a great bunch of people in the team of Mastermind, which is a group of people who get to access us live on Facebook, live Q&As. They get to see behind the doors in this room here as Graham runs the managers meetings. They get access to the online content, all that type of stuff, just for $99 a month. If you want to just have a peek behind the curtain, a look under the bonnet, if you go to that membership on our website, teama.com.au, and go to that course, the Complete Martial Arts Business Solution, type in promo code TRY5, and you're going to access 5 days for $5, just so you can have a little peeky boo.
Guys, I'm going to insist and encourage you guys to start getting some questions thrown back from these podcasts as well too, because it's content we're delivering to you, but I don't want it to be a one-way conversation. I want to make sure that if you've done any swaps with your staff, if they moved around, what are the pros, what are the cons you've had, what are the experiences? Because at the end of the day, that's also what the mastermind is doing, and I encourage you to be there because it's live. But even on these podcasts, when you re-listen, or people may get on this in weeks to come, whatever that may be, I'd love to hear some feedback from you guys, both on the actual site, so whether it's iTunes, whether it's SoundCloud, or any other way that you guys have hooked up on this, and even more so, drop some comments. Right next to this, you've got the online stuff with Tima, and you've also got the Facebook stuff as well too. So don't forget, guys, any way you can get us some feedback on these podcasts, these vlogs, we'd love to hear it, love to know about it, so we can continue to deliver world-class content for you guys.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us once again, and we'll see you next week, guys. Have a good day.
Take care.